Fire escape engineers inspect the summary video. This is a fire escape here that we have in Richmond, Virginia. And this fire escape is required to be structurally sound and must be kept painted. Right now, this fire escape does not pass the initial examination, the pre-load test examination, determining whether or not this fire escape is ready for the load test. We have some structural deficiencies, which I'm about to note, and only when those are done and we spot repair this fire escape, we can proceed immediately to a load test, or we can do a full refurb on this fire escape and there is no load test. So, a lot of debris, diamond plate, it's a wood combination structure, wood and steel, but they must do a lot of cleaning, a lot of debris here, and basically this is all working its way underneath this diamond plate and rotting out the pieces below. Any welded connection must be backed up with a bolt in order to avoid load testing. So any welded connection on major structural must be backed up with a bolt in order to avoid load testing. As you can see, I just stepped on this thing. This thing is making all kinds of noise. Right there. Okay, so this one is gone. This one. So anytime you can make noises like that, and I'll get underneath. Welded clip. The weld is broken, see? So needs refurbishment in order to proceed to a load test. Needs a paint job. Fire escape must be structure sound must be kept painted. She's not sitting correctly on anything. So this whole mess here, where it's sitting on some bricks and it's got some other brick and some broken cement, so she's not properly sitting. So that needs to be addressed. There's water getting into every one. Look at all that rust. Over half. I can put my finger through there. Look at all the rust here. Look at all the rust there. And again, once you see underneath what's going on, you'll understand. Wood structure, very rare. I mean, somebody could have removed it, but this should all go back to steel. Otherwise, we need to, reinforce every one of these connections with steel. But it may make sense to basically get rid of this wood and get this back. So, something must have happened here, and then they put this steel back. But look at all the rotten clips underneath. All the rotten clips. So, none of these treads have fallen. So it technically doesn't have a life safety issue, but I believe these are all suspect, and that something is imminent for the future here. So every one of these connections must be addressed to make sure that they're either replaced or put a new one. But every time, a lot of these is just driven by screws and nails. You need to have gussets to basically. So a lot of times when I'm load testing or dealing with anything related to wood, we need it backed up with a lot of metal. But the rest of it is all metal up above. So the railing's in good order, but whenever there's welding in any situation where there's a weld, to avoid having to load test, we put clips here that bolts, clips here that bolts. We eliminate a lot of load testing when we take the major structural and we back it up with a bolt. But aside from that, 100% of these treads got to come out. Take these all out, clean out all the rust, put it all back with bolts. No welding because of the EPA guidelines saying you can't weld on fire escapes that have lead. This fire escape is older than 1978. And then when you put everything back, any cracks, any seals, any issues, seal it with silicone so that we can make sure that the connection is properly secured on this fire escape. Now, this is part one of a fire escape system. We're really examining this entire 7-story here, but this right here is part of that because it is an egress. So all exterior steel, wooden stairs must be examined. So this is one of the examination on this building, but I'm really here to inspect the 7-story. Any questions, fire escape engineers? This is Inspector Cisco Meneses, 866-649-0333. Fire escape engineers inspect the summary video. Here we have what we call Juliet balconies on this fire escape, on this property here in Richmond, Virginia. And what we have here, a lot of times people don't think these are fire escapes, but they are. They're called waiting balconies. And they're basically used for the firemen with their trucks, and up to 7 stories, which just happens to be. We'll send up a truck here and get me out of here in case there's a fire, and this is how I get out. So all exterior steel wooden stairs, bridges, balconies must be examined, and they must be kept in good order. And this one's not. So this fire escape, it's basically a steel platform with grating, and then it's a rail tie-in. As you can see, there's spalling against against the door, the building. So that's what's keeping this thing from pulling out. It is an architectural piece, so a lot of times, if this building is historical, they're going to want the same structure back. There is rust growing in between the half round and the flat. So in some cases, one of the recommendations we make is that if there's many of these, and there is, so this represents all the balconies around this building that I photographed, that sometimes you take a balcony units in the back and you remove some of their pieces, you block the window so nobody goes out to them, and you remove the ones in the back, have them restored, and then as you come here to the front, you take these out and put the ones from the back in the front, and then when you're finally done with all the projects, the ones that were in the front or the sides get put in the back. So that's a recommendation for the restoration, because a lot of these pieces are architectural in nature, and you might have to, you probably won't have the chance of touching them or changing them in any way. Scrape and paint, this is older than 78, it's got lead in the paint, so that a renovator must touch this also. Structurally, she's got riveted connections, so a lot of this we have to make sure that the rivets get taken out and bolts get put in so that it can pass a load test. These sometimes get welded in, so now we can't weld these, so we have to bolt them back in after we get them all cleansed. So some of these flats are welded, so we need to bolt them so that because we can't weld on leaded paint, and all the spalling and all the cement along the wall needs to be addressed so that water doesn't get back in and keep rust jacking or ice jacking this away from the building, which is the tendency. In the meantime, as I mentioned to the facilities manager, what we can do also is put in those window guards for children that they sell, and that window guard would go here to here, so that temporarily you're going to keep people from coming out here. They still have access to the window and the fresh air and the screens, but sometimes what you want to do is block people from actually coming out here. Or if you want, you can put signs on your windows that say, do not go out on these balconies, they're being repaired, and until they're repaired, you can't go out there. Because in case there's a school atmosphere here, in case there's a parade, I'm sure people will come out here and watch a parade from the best vantage point, and this is a very good vantage point. There's 7 floors, and this is right over the front doorway on every one of these. So there's probably, just on this one here, there's 4 total. There's none above. But throughout the side, I think there's 4 to 5 going around the building. Very ornate building, very beautiful building here. Any questions, Fire Escape Engineers, inspect the summary video, 866-649-0333. This is Cisco Meneses.